Yes, us. Welcome to the Kefi Life Podcast. My name is Kiki L, and I'll be your guide to creating a life of Ola Kala. All is well. Together, we'll get back to the basics, and we'll explore fresh new ways to flourish in mind, body, and soul the Greek way. You can look forward to interviews, stories, essential self-care strategies, recipes, and actionable takeaway Ola Kala moments. This is going to be so much fun. Let's get going. Πάμε! Our Lexi for today is Ησυχία, or to be quiet, or in stillness. To be still is a form of mental health. To practice the art of quiet, or Ησυχία, will allow you to go inward and discover your truth. This is why when your heart is troubled, practicing Ησυχία, or stillness, or being quiet, will silence the noise and the distractions and enable you to find the answer that you seek.
My name is Sophia, and I recently had a cold and went downtown Hinsdale to Infused Well to get an IV drip from Ola. I cannot recommend Infused Well enough. It is such a clean, beautiful space, and the IV drip helped me get rid of my cold in just 24 hours.
You too can feel better today when you hydrate with the vitamin drip at Infused Well Concierge Hinsdale. All services administered by a medical professional. Happy 2026. It's the Kefi Life Podcast. And you know me, I love to motivate and get you ready for the new year. So I'm going to refrain from new year, new you, new year, new me. And I'm going to focus on knowledge and experience and taking kernels of wisdom from other people. But first, to help me do that, I'm welcoming back to the podcast a very esteemed guest, Kyriako Kalamata. Happy New Year.
It's good to be back. Happy New Year.
How were your holidays?
They were great. It was good to see family. Good to always eat a lot of food, as per usual.
Oh, yeah. Did you stay fit and exercise?
Never regret it. Oh, yeah. You know how it is. Yeah. A lot of walking, a lot of activity.
Exactly. And you're going to like give yourself a break and enjoy your holidays.
Always. Remember last time, that's what we talked about. Last time we talked about balance, right? Yeah. So it's good to do the difficult stuff, but it's also good to have some fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So what we're going to do, something different, something traditional, not traditional here. We're going to pull information from our favorite books.
Sure.
And we're going to motivate people that way. You are a personal trainer. Give yourself a plug real quick.
My name is Kyriako Kalamata. I'm a transformational fitness coach. I love working with people that are very curious on how the mind and body works. I love helping people achieve their fitness goals and just have an overall better quality life, just reach that longevity and just, have fun with their families and be fulfilled with their lives.
Sold.
You can sign here and here.
Sign here and here, exactly. So we're going to talk about our favorite books and the books that we've read.
Yeah.
And we're going to start off and take kernels of wisdom and sort of entice people to open those books and start learning through the pages of the book. So let's start with one of your favorite books. Like, give us a share right now. It doesn't have to be a most recently written book.
Okay.
What's top of mind right now?
Man, I know you didn't like them as much, but I really want to say Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. For sure, it's one that just like always sticks out. It's been just a very helpful book, especially like during the times of the year when it's like a little bit more doom and gloom. I love sun, so I get a little bit of seasonal depression. So that is the time for me to press play on my audiobooks and just listen to it on my way to work. Because it's just the guy just craves friction. He just loves the challenge, and there is literally no excuses. It's all about him taking ownership and accountability and just making sure that he can turn his life around. And that's exactly what he did through like a bunch of trials.
For someone who's a little bit intimidated by him,
sure.
Although I like that you brought him up because, hey, why not friction a little bit?
Yeah.
I feel intimidated, like his read might be just like an all or nothing.
Sure.
Is that true?
You know what? I actually discovered that his audiobook is really cool. If you have like the physical copy and you actually listen to the audiobook, he actually breaks down everything that happens in so he's on there talking while they're reading the book. So he'll be like, let's pause here and let's talk about this. So he breaks it down so you can get to know him better. Because a lot of times people like see like little tidbits and like little clips on YouTube, and he's like swearing a storm, and like, people are like, come on, dude, like you don't have to be so like 0 to 100. But the reason he is 0 to 100 is because of his early life, so he shows just how he overcomes everything.
Okay, I think I'm going to have to check it out. You convinced me. Another book that you just finished that I'm reading, and I really like the concept of habit stacking, Atomic Habits.
Yep.
What was your takeaway from that book?
My favorite thing, it was like those 4 words that he said in the beginning, which is it's a cue, it's a craving, it's a response, and a reward, right? So if you can remember these 4 things, it's a cue, it's the craving, it's the response, and the reward. So why do we do what we do? So if you know these 4 things, you can find the habits that are not serving you and you can change them or stack them with something else. For example, if you are having a hard time taking your morning supplements, put them right next to your coffee pot, because we all like our coffee in the morning. So that's the easiest way for you to go about it. Or right next to your toothbrush, right? Hopefully everybody brushes their teeth.
Right. Because he says that, and I forget what the terminology is, but follow that thing that you want to do with something that you do, follow it with the habit you want to create.
Exactly.
So like what you just said, put your supplements next to the thing you were doing previously.
Exactly. So the barrier to entry has to be low, and it also has to be appealing. It has to be sexy. It has to be attractive.
I always like sexy.
Yeah.
I always like sexy. Okay, so Atomic Habits, that's easy. James Clear.
100%.
He did take a lot of his information and he credits him. BJ Fogg from the book, it's a green book, and it's called Tiny Habits.
Tiny Habits.
Tiny Habits. That book was a little bit slower for me, but I personally am going to agree with you, Atomic Habits. Okay, one that I'm not familiar with, but a lot of people have talked about is Essentialism. Fill me in.
So essentialism is basically talking about, and the author's name is kind of slipping my mind at the moment. I'm sorry. It's basically talking about creating boundaries with everything in your life, right? So like I mentioned, it's if something is not an absolute heck yes, it's a no. Knowing when to say no to people. And the author himself said, while I was writing this book, I had an automatic email going out. I was telling people I was really consumed by this book. I will hit you up in the end of the year. And most people were okay with it because they respected it, right? So there was some feedback there. And just understanding that we need to create boundaries. And if certain habits and behaviors don't serve you and your family has known you in one way, it's okay for you to come out forward and tell them like, hey, there's a boundary there. And
something that comes to mind for that, sorry to cut you off, is if it's a yes to someone else and a no to yourself, that is something that we must not proceed with.
100%.
So that might be a boundary.
How much energy wasted?
Yeah.
Right. How many times have you committed to something? How many times have you hoped that plans will be canceled?
You know what I commit to and I can't stand is when I go to a party and they're like, come on, you have to eat this. You have to eat this. I'm like, no, I don't want that 5,000 calorie cake.
Right.
I don't want it. But I made it.
Let me take it a step back. How do you say no to a good friend when they invite you to their birthday party?
That's cruel.
You know what I mean? Like, how can you be completely honest with yourself and be like, look, I'm sorry, I'm just beat. No, I'm not coming. Or like a friend of yours is like, I really need you to take me to the airport. No. My car is here. I'll give you I'll send somebody else, but I can't pick you up.
I really like how you're comfortable with no.
No. You just gotta get very comfortable with just saying no. And that's a good answer.
I think boundaries are healthy.
100%.
So Essentialism, that's a great book to consider for 2026 to help yourself out, to be your best self, your higher version, and set boundaries.
I love that.
Okay, yeah, I'm just taking from you, bud.
That's it.
I'm just taking for you.
I love that.
Okay, we hear a lot about breathing. And I like somebody, his name is Dr. Andrew Weil. He teaches 4-7-8 breathing.
Box breathing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so the book Breathe, you introduced that to me.
Yeah, so breathing, I mean, it's so underrated, right? So how we breathe determines the state that our body's in, right? So what happens when you hyperventilate? When you go through something and you hyperventilate, your body releases what? Adrenaline, right? So it puts you in a place of fight or flight. So knowing that you are in control and you can take a long and slow breath in through your nose and long and slow exhalation out through your mouth multiple times in a row can actually help calm you down and bring down that stress over time, right? It's a learned skill. We have forgotten how to breathe. And a lot of people nowadays breathe in through their mouths and they ingest all this bacteria and outside pathogens. And we also have a rise in being sick. So sleep better, have more energy, right? When you wake up and actually feel rejuvenated and be less sick and just live a better quality of life all around. You recover better. You're in a better mood because you have more energy. You have more willpower. So you don't go eat those cookies and cakes, that are left over from the holidays, and just be better.
So all of that begins with, and this is such a problem these days because people are so anxious, they are so overworked, overstimulated, but sleep is a nutrition or a nutrient
100%.
that is really lacking. And Matthew Walker
Mm-hmm.
is catching a lot of buzz with his book, Why I Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So have you read that one?
So I have not read that one just yet, but I am very familiar with the book itself. And just something to say that Matthew would say himself is when it comes to training in a healthy life, it's not about the food that you eat. It's not about the exercise and the intensity and the consistency. If you do not prioritize sleep and you make it a sacred just practice in your life, you're not going to excel. Right. And it's not cool to say to your friends, it's okay, you'll sleep when you're dead. Because you're going to get there an hour sooner. I promise you that.
That's what you are so well read. I love it. Okay, moving on to the book. And I don't know about this. You brought it to my attention.
Shoot.
Heavily Meditated.
Awesome. Yeah. So previously in the first episode when I was with you, I spoke about the father of biohacking, Dave Asprey. And I actually I pre-ordered that book because I love him so much. So a little background on Dave Asprey. He was in Silicon Valley. He was extremely overweight. He was extremely stressed out, heavily inflamed. He was working out 7 days a week, 300 plus pounds, could not lose weight for the life of him because of all this stress and cortisol. He developed the bulletproof diet, and then going into biohacking and investing tons and tons of money on himself to figure how to heal himself, he figured out the different mental brain states that involve learning, that involve deep sleep, involve recovery, right? So we have the waking beta, like we mentioned before. We have the alpha level frequency or the flow state, or we have gamma, where our brain shows that it's learning quick. Delta, when you're in deep sleep and recovery and your body's releasing growth hormone and testosterone and you're healing your tissues from your previous day's workout and you're getting ready to be rejuvenated, right? So all these different brave states. So it's really cool to read about that stuff because now you know that through meditation, through slowing down and being still, you can actually train old patterns that just don't serve you and you can let them go.
Outstanding.
You can overcome so much easier.
Outstanding.
People always think that it has to be something external, right? You go to your doctor, right? We trust on our doctors. We trust on the white coats. Why? Because they're supposed to be educated to help us. But how many times do you hear doctors ask you, how are you eating? How much you're walking?
Never.
How much active?
Hardly ever.
Hardly ever.
Hardly ever.
What do most doctors say?
They want to give you a pill and they kind of don't want to get to the root of it. I don't want to generalize that or stereotype.
Not everybody.
Because I love my
everybody.
physician who always, the first thing she says is what's going on in your life.
And I'm not saying it as a generalization, like you said. I'm just saying it because there is also good doctors out there that get into medicine for all the right reasons.
Exactly.
But if they know only what they know and they don't go outside of the script and try to learn and keep educating themselves on, okay, how do we do this? How can we actually overcome, right? Does it have to be a pill? Right? I know somebody, a close friend, she's a physician. She doesn't like to prescribe. She just doesn't. She'll tell you straight up, you're being lazy.
Good for
And you know
her.
what? A lot of times those people leave.
Yeah, that's a doctor
know?
that sincerely has time and cares. A book that I
She
want to
does care, yes.
She does care. A book that I'd like to really recommend, and one that I believe has so many stories, is a classic. It's a poem, actually, The Odyssey, written by Homer. And when I was in Greece last year, I went to Isychía, the island supposedly where Homer was. I'd like to recommend the edition and translation by Emily Wilson. The reason I want to recommend The Odyssey, because it really is about that personal journey of trying to get home, but keeping on the road, all the experiences,
Trials and tribulations, all the the manipulation and the attraction and how to stay on course.
how to stay on course.
It's the perfect allegory of what life is, right? Because life is not linear.
Right.
It's up and down, and there's addiction, and there's sadness, and there's happiness, and there's all of it. So yes, absolutely. 10 out of 10 recommend. My sister would be very proud of us for mentioning this right now.
Oh my God, that's so great.
Yeah.
That's so great. You brought up a book that my husband loves, Jocko. Extreme Ownership.
Extreme Ownership by Jocko. Yep.
Okay, so you referenced him a couple times. Why
Yep.
that book? And why for 2026? Why should we read Extreme Ownership in 2026?
Because I feel like unless you're raised in a family that teaches these values of ownership and responsibility and ethics, being a good man, being respectful, right? Showing up, doing what you have to do, even when you don't want to do it, right? And taking responsibility, because that's the biggest thing. The hardest thing that I see is that everybody just points the finger. It's his fault. It's her fault. It's their fault. My life is sad. My mommy treated me bad growing up.
I got bullied.
I got bullied, right? But instead of us talking about how we overcame, we talk about how much of a victim we are. Well, if you don't do anything about it, if you don't point the finger to yourself and say, hey, do I look like that guy? Do I represent my highest self in front of the mirror? Right? Am I doing the right thing? Like, if you're not questioning, or if you're the type of person that's like, I'm perfect, it's everybody else. You know, that's why it's so important, or especially young men, right? Because it's the young men that set the tone for our society, right? Women are the ones that lead the homes. They're the ones that grow the kids, the next generation. They're the ones that give the foundation. That's why it's so important for men to be able to support our women, to give them their life back.
And I do love the idea of family.
It's everything.
I really do. I just believe it's so important. And I think that the first church, if you will, is in the home. And I feel we learn our lessons in the home. And if we're fortunate or blessed enough to have people in the home that care about us, and we have that popular word, safe zone to come home to, then we have an advantage. You mentioned a book that I'm not so familiar with, Code of the Extreme Mind.
The Extraordinary Mind.
The Extraordinary Mind.
Yeah. So actually, it's kind of funny how I stumbled on that book back in, when was it? The beginning of COVID was like 2020 or 2019.
Okay.
I think it was like in the end over there. I had a friend of mine that told me, I want you to do this meditation every day, twice a day, rain or shine. I don't care how you do it. And it was this author speaking the meditation. It's called the 6-phase meditation. You can still find it to this day on YouTube. And the book itself talks about, Vishen is really big on recognizing the culture scape, right? The matrix that we're living in, right? He's trying to teach people, how can we change the way we think about the world that we're living in, right? So how do we escape the rules, is what he calls the bullshit rules, excuse me for that, of society, right? Because we have a lot of self-imposed rules and expectations that we create in our mind. And how can we get away from it? How can we finally live a life that is made for us, instead of constantly having to raise the bar and never finally achieving the happiness that we yearn for? You know what I mean? So that's why I love that book and the author himself.
Okay, great read. And then I'm just going to end it with, unless you have another one, a book. It's very simple. It's got some great colors. It's animated. And sometimes I like a really easy page turner.
Sure.
It's called The Crossroads of Should and Must.
I've never heard of it.
And it's just really simple. And I really like the fact that it really is important when we set our boundaries to do what we must do. That little voice inside of us, listen to it.
Yep.
And you can think about this. I'm going to end by saying, in 2026, let's be the change that we want to see in the world.
Love that. Great quote, always.
Anything that comes to your mind, Kyriako?
Of course. No, just like I said, extreme ownership. And it's okay for you guys to lean into the pain and the discomfort, right? Have fun, but pain is unavoidable. It's the rhythm of life. We are born, and I don't want to be gruesome and dull because it's the beginning of the year, but we will die eventually. So make sure you do the best you can while you have the time. So thank you very much for having me once again. Happy New Year, everybody, and let's crush this.
Let's do this. Higher version of ourselves.
That's it.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
Yay! Eleolado, olive oil, has been celebrated in the civilized world for millennia. Nearly eternal, the oil of this fruit has been more than just food to the cultures of the Mediterranean region. It's been medicinal, ceremonial, sacramental, and the foundation of great wealth and power. It is safe to say that olive oil is the ethos, the essence of Greek culinary culture. Today, the priceless and life-giving ingredients of this liquid gold can be delivered to you when you purchase your premium bottle of Kefi Life extra virgin olive oil from the region my parents were born, the Peloponnese. The coveted Koumparakis olive is extensively cultivated here in the southern part of Greece, which offers the unique microclimate needed to grow a fruit netting the utmost nutrient value for extra virgin olive oil. Kefi Life extra virgin olive oil, a boundless amount of value, high in antioxidants with anti-inflammatory properties, linked to good mood and improved mental health. Get your bottle of wellness today when you visit KefiLife.com.
Today, I'd like to personally invite you to sign up for my Tuesday newsletter. Why? Because here I will directly communicate with you, sharing additional wellness content and promotions that our team has created for you in mind. I promise not to overload you, only further inspire you. Visit KefiLife.com today, sign up for the Tuesday newsletter, bringing you one step closer to Ola Kala, all is well.
Kiki Vale is the founder of Kefi Life. She is passionate about whole person wellness and living a fulfilled life. Her Kefi Life podcast is created to simply and naturally help you harmonize the mind, body, and soul the Greek way. Visit KefiLife.com and check out Kiki Vale on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Join us again next time for more positive energy and inspiration on Kefi Life.